Hello and welcome to Network. My name is Spumelele Zondi with your technology and social media news. Remember that if you want to be a part of our conversation, it is SABC Network. Now that's on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. It's newsnetwork@sabc.co.za on email. Remember that our Twitter poll this week is asking you if you know what a tech incubator is. Results of that are coming up later in the program. But first, here's what's coming up tonight. WhatsApp faced targeted surveillance. We go to Kenya to find out about startup incubator funding. And our discussion is on Makerspace in Durban. Now, Facebook says WhatsApp was hacked and people installed spyware on other people's phones. WhatsApp is used by many for different reasons. It often comes with a message that says it's encrypted when one uses it. Therefore, you think no one is watching what you're chatting about. But now it emerges that it isn't so. Facebook has said that the trusted chat service has been hacked and spyware installed. Many users say it's now difficult to trust the privacy of WhatsApp conversations.
A lot of WhatsApp accounts have already been compromised, but WhatsApp is taking steps to fix that. Also, there might be more vulnerabilities as the story unfolds.
When we heard that the app has been hacked, it was a major concern. It's a major concern, especially for most African citizens, because this is, as I've said, an app that we use to advocate a lot for human rights, to discuss issues that we deem to be more sensitive, because a bar is no longer a place that we feel safe to discuss such issues. So we have a fear that governments might have ideas of actually paying all these people who are creating these spywares, because we are told this is an Israel company that uses the spyware to crack these apps that we think are encrypted.
A statement from Facebook says WhatsApp users must upgrade to the latest version of the app. WhatsApp is now more than just a chat app. It's used to buy airtime as well as to share files, videos and photographs. These days we store a lot of information on our mobile phones. We store it on USB drives. We even store it on hard drives. But what is the future of the storage of personal information looking like? Here's producer Lebo Sijake.
With the fourth industrial revolution in our midst comes fifth generation networks, otherwise known as 5G, which leads to big data that will in turn need larger storage capacities. Data storage devices have evolved from being this big with small capacity to this small.
In 1956, IBM came with the biggest hard drive. That was 2-ton heavy. And it started moving. The more people needed data, the more people were having a problem with storing. Then people started even innovating in new different ways of type of storage. That's how we moved into the hard drive. Then flash came in. As well, flash came in as a need. They needed to have something more reliable and fast. It was for internal use. Then they discovered that no, we can use it as an internal use and an external use. And then once this happened, they saw the benefit of having this type of storage, and they kept developing and innovating the products till we reached to today.
However, with the introduction of cloud storage solutions, is there really a need for physical data storage devices?
You need somewhere to capture that data initially before you try and offload it onto the cloud. So if you capture it on a laptop, you're going to put it onto an SSD or a hard drive. If you capture it on your mobile phone, you're going to put it onto a micro SD card. Or in the terms of iOS, you're going to put it onto your internal memory on the phone, and then you transfer that onto a cloud storage operator.
Data technology company Western Digital said that storing data is not just about unlimited space, but it is also about security. The company exhibited a wide range of their data storage products at a media briefing held in Johannesburg.
Let's go to Kenya now, where the stock exchange has launched an incubator scheme for startup firms.
Kenya's stock exchange looks to whet startups' appetite. Young companies in Kenya now have the opportunity to list or issue a bond on the local stock market, thanks to a new program set up by the Nairobi Securities Exchange designed to act as an incubator for the fledgling firms. Chief Executive Godfrey Odundo says he wants to boost the number of firms from the 65 currently listed.
As opposed to waiting for companies to come to the market when they're ready, we want to make them ready. So the 3 stages of Ibuka is 1, we want to get them ready, which is the incubator. We then prepare them and get them fit, which is the accelerator. And then we take them to the 3rd stage, which is where we want them to get value, which is now when they're able to access different products in the market.
Called Ibuka, that's Swahili for emerge, the new scheme aims to prepare companies for listing in 2 or 3 years, providing them with training in corporate governance and helping them to widen their networks. One firm which has already been admitted into the program is a local tourism company called Globetrotter.
Ibuka makes sense because of course we want to grow, whether it's capital injection or market growth, which is what everybody looks for, and especially when it's global growth.
The Nairobi Securities Exchange is a key entry point for foreign investors seeking exposure to fast-growing economies in East Africa. It handles average trading volumes of 8 to 10 million US dollars on a normal day, although this is currently heavily dominated by a new big firm. The Ibuka program hopes to diversify that.
It is SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. News Network at sabc.co.za on email. After the break, we chat about Makerspace in Durban. They recently received $125,000 US dollars worth of funding from Google.
When thinking about the hassle of switching medical aid, Tuli has an epiphany. Bonita's let her apply online and a human phones her back. No long forms, no on-hold music. That's real medical aid. Exciting.
As part of Africa, we're giving its people the great future it deserves with an investment partner like no other. You. We've invested 120 billion rands of our money and yours into creating more than just hope for this beautiful continent we call home. We're sustaining our soil and enriching lives. We're giving our children a brighter tomorrow. We're investing in small businesses to grow the economy. And we're bringing warmth and light to the people who need it most. And by investing in our planet, we're passing this all on to future generations too. Great things are possible when we invest together. That's why we're invested in changing Africa's tomorrow.
It is SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. It's News Network at sabc.co.za on email. Welcome back. Now, Makerspace in Durban received quite a lot of funding from Google recently. I'm going inside the space to find out what they're using the funding for. I'll also talk to the founder of the space, Steve Gray.
For me, it's been like 4 months now, and I've enjoyed being here. They've taught me like a lot about technology, like the machines they use here. They taught us about IoT, which is Internet of Things, controlling things using the internet.
They are IoT, which is the Internet of Things, laser cutting, the CNC machining, so 3D printing and ceramic 3D printing. So they are doing lots of things.
I enjoy being here, and it's also unlocked my creativity and also have to think like new ideas, innovative ideas.
Steve Gray, hello and thank you very much for joining us. Now, where did the idea of the Makerspace come from?
You know, the idea was a accumulation of things, like little frustrations I had and ideas that I had. You know, I often had wanted to make things and I didn't have the tools and equipment, and when I went to professional services that have tools and equipment, they didn't want to listen to my ideas. They were like, this is our machine, we run it how we want to run it. I found that very frustrating. And I basically thought about what I wanted to do with my life, what could make an impact with my skill set and my ambitions and ideas. And I figured out that for me what's important is developing people, working with technology, and working in a creative environment. So I just try to imagine what it would look like to put all those three things together, and this is basically what I imagined.
Now, how challenging is putting such a space together?
It's very challenging. There are not a lot of spaces like this in the world. Most of them are supported by institutions, if they do exist. So the value that's being created by the people who are participating isn't always directly reciprocated. They aren't able to pay for the value they're receiving. And so you need a third party, you need an institution or government or somebody who sees the benefit on society, and there's no we'll pay for that cost. So for a long time we've had to make a business on the sidelines and do other projects and other things to try and pay the bills in order to kind of see this vision realized.
How would you describe the space?
The Makerspace is a place where you can unlock your creativity in a physical way. It is basically a social innovation incubator, but of course when you talk about Africa, social innovation is pretty much any innovation. So anything that is going to have a business that comes out of it or value that's created is going to have positive net effects. You know, it's going to create employment, it's going to create resources for families and for entrepreneurs. So basically we're trying to help people bring their ideas to life.
And you mentioned the issue of funding. How did you raise your funding then?
And we had to self-fund, so we had to figure out how to make this thing work. We had a smaller space, we had a smaller team, and I put a lot of my own money into it. And over time we found partners who had the similar ideas or goals as us, trying to develop people and unlock creativity. So wherever we can find overlap, obviously we try and partner with people.
What are the challenges that you face with training people to think in an entrepreneurial manner?
I think it's probably more intuitive than what you think. Most people live in the real world and they see problems and they see that the model answer or the theory doesn't always work. So we're very practical. You know, we're practical in every application. We teach very practical skills. The difficulty is, I suppose, there are some mindsets that you've got to overcome. You've got to take away the intimidation factor. You know, people are seeing this technology and they can get overwhelmed by it, and they can think that they're not qualified and they don't know how to use it and they're never going to be able to use it. So you've got to show them that it's actually quite simple. If you break any complex problem down to simple parts, and you kind of got to get people to gain a bit of confidence.
You recently received $125,000 US worth of funding from Google. How did you use that money?
That's what we've used to fund Project Kwenza, which Kwenza means to make. And that's the 12 interns that we are developing this year. So that started in April and will run through for another about 9 months. So the end game is for all of those guys to graduate, and also in the interim of getting the skills they need to graduate, we want them to develop these future skills that make them more employable. We want to develop their soft skills, and we also want to stimulate innovation. So maybe some of them are going to start projects, and maybe some of them are going to start businesses out of those projects.
Steve Gray, thank you very much for joining us.
Hey yo, what's up? Sanbonan, it's your boy MT. My favorite technology is my television because it's a smart TV. I'm able to use it. I'm able to use the internet on my TV, which is something that is like dope. I can go on YouTube on my TV. I can, Google stuff, and it's got dope picture. It's very clear. So when I'm playing even my PlayStation, the quality is dope. So yeah, my television is my favorite right now. Yeah.
Try and tell funeral plans It's your final gift of love.
I chose a clientele funeral plan because it's affordable and suits my budget.
I chose clientele because they are an original. They've been around for a long time, and I know within my family are in good hands.
I'm a farmer and I'm a businessman, and I know a good deal when I see one. Clientele is a good deal.
Clientele is the name I trust.
SMS plan to 31043 and we'll call you back.
It is SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. It's News Network at sabc.co.za on email. Welcome back. Now here's what else took place in the rest of the world in the tech space.
San Francisco officials voted 8-1 to ban the purchase and the use of facial recognition technology by city personnel in a move to regulate tools that local Silicon Valley companies helped develop.
So face recognition is a very serious issue for the United States. We're seeing what's happening in China, and China is selling its surveillance technology to other countries around the world. We already have surveillance cameras everywhere across the United States, and we're right at the cusp of implementing real-time face recognition programs in many cities around the country. So in San Francisco, while we don't yet have any real-time face recognition programs in place, we're right at the point where we need to pass legislation like this so that we can prevent that from happening.
The ordinance, which would also require city departments to submit surveillance technology policies for public vetting, can become final after a second vote next week by the same officials, the city's Board of Supervisors.
Multiple researchers have found that facial recognition technology has significant problems. Last summer, the ACLU scanned the bases of Congress against mugshot databases, and Amazon's facial recognition service produced 28 false matches. Of those false matches, a significant amount were people of color.
The action puts San Francisco at the forefront of increasing discontent in the US over facial recognition, which government agencies have used for years and now has become more powerful with the rise of cloud computing and AI technologies. Paskin says the ordinance was not an anti-technology policy. It allows continued use of surveillance tools like security cameras. The district attorney or sheriff can make an appeal to use certain restricted technology in exceptional circumstances as well. For instance, Amazon has come under scrutiny since last year for selling an image analysis and ID service to law enforcement. Researchers have said this service struggles to identify the gender of individuals with darker skins, prompting fears of unjust arrest. Amazon has defended its work and said all users must follow the law. While communities at the heart of the technology industry are moving to limit facial recognition, police elsewhere have increased their use primarily to spot potential suspects in known offender databases after a crime has occurred. CEOs from major technology companies attended a workshop ahead of a summit aimed at curbing online extremism in the wake of aftermath of a massacre in New Zealand. CEOs from IBM, Uber and Google are expected to attend the summit. The event runs parallel to a meeting Macron and New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern are hosting to eliminate terrorism and extremism violence content online. The two leaders will launch an initiative called the Christchurch Appeal that seeks global support to tackle online violence after a lone gunman killed 51 people at two mosques in Church Christ on March. Microsoft will invest $100 million to open an Africa Technology Development Center with sites in Kenya and Nigeria over the next 5 years. Global tech giants including Alphabet Inc. and Facebook have been increasing investment on the continent in recent years to take advantage of growing economies with rising access rates to to the internet by a youthful population.
The future of the war in terms of labor workforce is here in Africa. And we start working about the infrastructure that was needed in order to untap that opportunity and give the opportunity for all the African countries in order to do the bridge in the digital scale. So one of the things that we created is first, we announced like 2 months ago, a full data center in South Africa that creates infrastructure.
Engineers at the new Africa Development Center will build applications using AI, mixed reality, and machine learning.
As from a dollar standpoint, we're talking about $100 million investment in between infrastructure people. But the most important part is not about that. It's the ripple effect that we will create in the ecosystem with the university, with the governments, and with the startups. For every person, there will be many that will work in internship programs, in development programs, that we will be able to enable for the local economy, and that's where we care the most.
The company already has 6 other development hubs located elsewhere in the world.
They say the new Huawei P30 caters for the sophisticated consumer as well as a playful one with its change of color. Producer Lebusi Jaga played around with the device.
We have seen these social media memes about this Huawei P30 phone, and I had a chance to have a go with this phone and experience whether or not these memes are true or false. Huawei P30 Pro's camera became a hit with consumers that saw it being compared to that of the iPhones. I must say that I do understand why people are going ballistic over this camera, because its triple Leica 40 megapixel lens is something to write home about. This 40 megapixel back and 32 megapixel front camera has AI-driven software which allows it to capture far more light and zoom to much greater distances. Other specifications of this device include a 6.47-inch OLED display with dual SIM capacity. Overall, I must say that this phone is indeed a really great phone to have. Not only does it look great, it feels great as well. And the user interface is so out of this world. And I must say that I cannot wait to see what Huawei has in store for its customers next.
Hello everybody, my name is Leila Sonjika, and my favorite piece of technology would be, of course, my smartwatch. The reason why I say I love my smartwatch is like I have it with me all the time. I don't have to have my phone with me, and I can do anything, especially when I go for a jog, because I'm a very jogging person. When I go for a jog, I just need my watch. My phone can be at home. I can check my BP levels, my stress levels. Everything you do on your Samsung Health is on my smartwatch. It's also 42mm Galaxy, and it has an eSIM, so the SIM card is already installed on the watch, and it can be connected through my phone, whereby I can get messages, WhatsApps, make phone calls, listen to music, check my calendar, check every basic thing that I usually do on my phone on my watch. Oh, and if I lose my phone, I can find it on my watch with Find My Phone.
Now this week, our Twitter poll is asking you if you know what a tech startup incubator is. 26% of respondents say yes, they know what an incubator is. An overwhelming 61% says no, they do not know what a tech incubator is. And there is 14% that responded with they just don't care. SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. News Network at sabc.co.za on email. Thank you very much for being a part of our network tonight. From me, Spumelele Zondi, and the rest of the team right here at Moses Mabhida Stadium in Durban. Thank you very much for joining us. Have a good one. It's good night.